Now I'd like to bring up the President and CEO of Big Brothers and Big Sisters of America, Pam Iorio.
Thank you, Chief. I miss the Chief. Thank you so much. I really appreciate everyone coming out today because there's something really significant that happens across the country that isn't always on everyone's radar, and that is the significant amount of funding that comes from the federal government to mentor young people across the United States. Big Brothers Big Sisters of America is very proud to be the recipient of $10.75 million from OJJDP. OJJDP is the Office of Juvenile Justice Delinquency Prevention. It's a mouthful. So it's easier to say OJP. But we are very privileged to be the recipient of these funds from OJJDP. These funds are distributed across 42 states to 95 agencies, Big Brothers Big Sisters agencies. And here in Florida, we have two representatives right here with Stephen and Alva representing Tampa Bay and Big Bend, which is the Tallahassee area. They are two of our Florida agencies who are recipients of these funds. So with these mentoring dollars, we expect to serve at least 6,000 big and little matches across the country. Our Big Brothers Big Sisters agencies always exceed whatever our goals are, so we will exceed that amount. But these are one-to-one mentoring relationships that in the Big Brothers Big Sisters world, they last an average of 31 months. So when we make a match, they tend to last that long. And of course, we know from experience that sometimes matches last a lifetime. And truly, the littles and the bigs, it becomes an integration into a family. And that's part of what makes our Big Brothers Big Sisters model just so significant and so effective. We're also proud that a program that we launched in 2016 is called Bigs in Blue, and you're going to hear from a Bigs in Blue match. We thought it was very important that we help bridge sometimes the divide that occurs between the police and the communities that they serve. And so we're very pleased that as of today, we have about 1,600 Bigs in Blue matches all across the United States, and that number continues to grow. I know here in Tampa, they have about 38 Bigs in Blue matches. You'll meet one in a moment. And Chief Holloway from St. Petersburg said that they have 30 Bigs in Blue matches in the city of St. Petersburg, with more on the way. I can't tell you how honored we are to have Katie Sullivan with us. She is a very high-ranking individual with the Federal Attorney General's office. And for her to come here today to really highlight this very significant award to Big Brothers Big Sisters of America means quite a bit to us, and really shows just how important these mentoring dollars are at the highest levels of the federal government. One other thing about the award monies. Of the $10.75 million, $1.25 goes specifically for families that are affected by the opioid crisis. While 7% of all young people in America today have a family with a substance abuse issue, within the Big Brothers Big Sisters world of the children we serve, 22% of the children we serve have a family member who has a substance abuse issue. And so we very carefully administer those dollars that are particularly focused on young people who have a family member with a substance abuse issue, and we partner with organizations such as care and treatment centers to make sure that it's a whole family approach to our mentoring. And we're really appreciative that the federal government, for the first time, just in this past 2 years, has stepped up to allocate money for this particular purpose. So it's a great day here in Tampa when we are able to welcome someone like Katie Sullivan here to the Tampa Bay area to really highlight the importance of these federal grants and these awards. when we talk about the money, what we always think about at Big Brothers Big Sisters is that all that money really equates to the number of matches we can make. And these are matches that make a real difference in the lives of these young people. And what I particularly love is that it makes a real difference in the lives of the bigs as well. Now, when I had the privilege of being part of city government some years ago, our police chief, our then police chief, Jane Castor, was a big sister. And little knowing where life would take her, she went on to even greater things as the mayor of Tampa. I'm so proud of her. But I think I'll always be particularly proud that we had a police chief who thought, in spite of how busy being a police chief is, right, and how demanding that position is, that Jane took time out of her day, her weeks, to really bond with a young person and to be a role model for a young person through the Big Brothers Big Sisters program. I'm always proud of Jane and proud to call her our mayor. So please welcome Mayor Jane Castor.
Thank you. I have to say thank you, Mayor Iorio. I can never lose that title without a doubt. But it is certainly an honor for me to be standing here talking about something that is so incredibly important in our community, and that is mentoring. You're going to meet, as was alluded to, a little in a few minutes, but that'll be the only thing that's little about him. He's going to be big and famous very, very soon. But Prince, he exemplifies the future of our city. You know, all of the young people here in our community that are going to take this city over in the future and lift it up to the next level. And it necessitates guidance with our young people. And that's what Big Brothers and Big Sisters does, is they provide that one-on-one mentorship that allows young kids to grow and reach their potential. When I was the major back in, way back, I don't want to say how many years back, the mid-90s, I was out in District 2, and we had Sulphur Springs in our area, and Sulphur Springs at the time was an F-rated school. And so my staff, myself and my staff, decided to become bigs. And I was matched with my little sister when she was in 3rd grade, and she is now 26 years old. And as Mayor Iorio also talked about, that these kids in essence grow up. She grew up with my 2 boys. And I couldn't be more proud of the woman that she has become today. Her mother was a wonderful, wonderful woman, but she was working minimum wage jobs with 4 kids just to put food on the table and a roof over the kids' head. So to have that additional assistance in the form of a mentor was really a godsend for her. And again, it meant more to me than I think it did for my little, because as I always say, you get more when you volunteer than you give, without a doubt. So the Bigs in Blue, when Mayor Iorio talked to me about that program and trying to bridge that gap that sometimes exists between law enforcement and our youth, is just something that I couldn't be more supportive of, and I was so happy to assist with getting that program up and running, to make sure that the young kids knew that police officers are just like them and that they're out there to help serve and protect our community every day, but they're just like everybody else. And it's wonderful to see a lot of the kids that have been mentored that have gone on to go into public service, whether it's becoming a police officer or a firefighter or a paramedic. So I can't speak enough about the Bigs in Blue program and mentoring in general. It's very, very important, but it necessitates funding. And to be able to get almost an $11 million grant from the federal government is wonderful. It shows the understanding of the federal government and what our future is going to look like and how we will be able to shape that future by providing mentors for young kids. And we look for funding on the local, state, and federal level, but it really is significant to see the federal government provide this backing towards mentoring and towards giving our kids the ability to reach their potential in the future. And it also underscores the significance of it to see that Katie Sullivan personally came down here to Tampa to award this grant. So I have the honor of introducing her, and I would like to say that I have actually I've actually memorized her title, but anybody that could do that is, whoa. Okay. She is, I'll say she is the head of PDAAG, and you guys will figure that all out on your own, but I'll tell you what it is. But before I do that, she brings to this position a great deal of experience as a prosecutor, federal prosecutor, and a judge, and I'm sure a lot more prior to that. So she understands the needs out there in the community. Katie was appointed by Attorney General William Barr as the Principal Deputy Assistant Attorney General of the Office of Justice Programs in June of 2019. And that's why we had the acronym PDAAG. She leads the Department of Justice's principal funding, research, and statistical component, and she also oversees more than $5 billion in grants and other resources to support state, local, and tribal criminal and juvenile justice activities and victim services. And as I said, she was previously as a judge and also served as a White House Domestic Policy Counsel and as acting director of Justice Department's Office on Violence Against Women. So we are very, very proud to welcome Katie to our fine city. Thank you, Katie.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Thank you. Wow, I have had such a warm Tampa welcome. It's been absolutely wonderful. I want to thank, of course, Mayor Castor, Chief Dugan, and Pam Iorio for allowing me to join them today in what is really their achievement. Big Brothers Big Sisters plays an absolute vital role in mentoring underserved populations of kids that may be vulnerable. What's so exciting about this almost $11 million in grant money that the Department of Justice was able to make available to Big Brothers Big Sisters is this opioid helping children and families in a very holistic way that have been affected by the opioid or drug addiction crisis. And so I want to thank you so much. I also want to recognize Joel McKee, and that's one of the city's outstanding law enforcement officers and an incredible member of the Bigs in Blue program here in Tampa. We also have Princeton, who is Joel's little, here from Piso Elementary School. Did I say that right, Princeton? Okay. And they're gonna come up and join in just a minute. LaToya, Princeton's mom, thank you so much for allowing him to be here today. I've really enjoyed getting to talk to him. He wants to be a sportscaster, so today is his big debut. Very exciting. I do bring greetings, most importantly, from the Attorney General, Bill Barr. He sends his congratulations to, obviously, Tampa, as well as to Big Brothers Big Sisters, and his sincere and deep thanks to the dedicated men and women who protect Tampa's communities and serve the city's youth. I'd like to also thank the U.S. Attorney for the Middle District of Florida, Maria Chapa Lopez. And also we have in the audience today the First Assistant from the Northern District, Jeffrey Tharp, who's here for Lawrence Keefe, who's the U.S. Attorney, again, for the Northern District. Our U.S. Attorney's offices are vital partners. They're vital partners throughout the nation and within our communities, and I know their interest in this program being successful is tremendous, so thank you. There's a substantial amount investment in the safety of Florida's communities. That is one of the Attorney General's main priorities, and especially the safety of Florida's young people. I'm proud today to announce total $291 million in public safety grants to agencies and organizations across the state of Florida. These grants cover everything from supporting Florida's law enforcement professionals to serving crime victims, fighting domestic and sexual violence, and strengthening the state's criminal and juvenile justice systems. I am especially pleased that almost $27 million of this $291 million will go to support activities designed to protect children and keep at-risk youths on the path to positive growth. Big Brothers Big Sisters, as we've said, will receive almost $11 million. And again, especially helping youth mentoring in Florida and throughout the country, but much of that funding going to help families affected by the opioid crisis. On the drive over here this morning, I was able to talk to Pam, and she said that the focus on families affected by the opioid crisis and that portion of the funding will concentrate in rural communities where we know there is just such a tremendous need. I also really want to commend Big Brothers Big Sisters for finding Care and Treatment Center and working with them to develop a curriculum to, again, holistically address this issue. So thank you. Above and beyond the mentoring grants, like the Bigs in Blue that we've been talking about, funding to the state will support gang prevention activities and help schools and law enforcement agencies protect students from school violence. We also support 3 of Florida's outstanding Internet Crimes Against Children task forces. These are part of a nationwide network of law enforcement agencies that work hard every day to investigate online child exploitation, to track down predators, and rescue innocent children from the vilest forms of abuse. We're pleased to make these resources available, and we don't pretend that federal funding alone will make Florida's kids and communities safer. That job really does fall to the brave men and women who enforce the law. And it does fall to the amazing organizations like Big Brothers Big Sisters that work every day to create a better future for our youth. No one understands this better than our Attorney General, Bill Barr. No one is more focused on giving our state and local professionals the tools that they need. I know that passion and commitment are shared by Mayor Castor, who herself is a former police chief, and Chief Dugan, 2 people who I know do care deeply about the safety of this city. I'd like to thank all of those who work so hard on behalf of the residents of Tampa, all the citizens of Florida. We're so proud to be your partners. I want to just take a minute to introduce Joel, who is here in his, what is your like, what are you, a lieutenant? Officer. So we have Officer Joel, who's one of the 38 Bigs in Blue from Tampa. But again, I want to reiterate the number that Pam talked about, which was the 1,600 nationwide, I think you said. And I also want to point out that Attorney General Moody from here in Florida had actually announced recently, is my understanding, that there are some Florida state agencies in which you can take 1 hour a week, I don't want to misquote this, but in order to mentor. And so there's actually a big push in your entire state and the understanding as we partner on this how important mentorship is. So I know that Officer Joel does this because he loves it, but there is no way you could not love Princeton. Come on up, Princeton. Princeton's going to be a marine biologist and a sportscaster. And so he's going to start today. This is his first big debut, am I right? And he really just loves his Big and Blue. He truly does. So these guys are going to take a minute and talk to you. Thank you all so much. We're so pleased that we can help the state of Florida and children across this country. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'm going to be speaking today from my perspective. Hello, my name is Princeton. I attend Pisa Elementary K through 8. On the side of me, I have Joel, my big brother. What we do at school is basically we talk about the future that's going to be happening later on or what happened in the past future. We also do sports and games, and we talk about the most, the most things that recent happened. The one thing that we mostly talk about is the main event when the lady dog got ate by the alligator at Roland Park. He was in the main event. He had to go get the lady. It was very fun hearing him being in the most recent thing that happened. I enjoy having Joel by my side, and I think that he's a benefit to me because he just shows me how to respect other people, just trying to know different people for who they are and not just what they do in life. And that's all I gotta say, so thank you.
And he did that by memory, and I had to get note cards. Good job, Princeton. I was matched up with Princeton for, it's been about a year now. I didn't really know what to expect getting in the program. I was looking for something that would be a little bit more rewarding than just my everyday tasks, which not everyone knows are not all that rewarding at times. But I know every Wednesday, or Mondays, right, Princeton? Yeah. I'm going to have that 1 hour that's going to make a difference. It truly does bridge the gap between law enforcement and community, because Princeton doesn't see me as just police officer. He sees me as Joel. I'm not adult, child. I'm not citizen law enforcement. I'm Joel. And I don't really know how to put into words what that means to me and what he's done for me in the past year. So I want to thank Big Brothers and Big Sisters. I want to thank the chief and the mayor for allowing me to be here today, and thank you all.
Anybody have questions? Can't. Very rare. Yeah, can't upstage Prince. I think you did it all, buddy. Yeah. All right. Thank you all for coming.